Hello guys, we have so far discussed about the endocrine system, about the pituitary, hypothalamus and pineal gland. Now we are going to see about the thyroid gland. Coming to the location, thyroid is a small butterfly shaped gland located at the base of the neck below the thyroid cartilage. So this is the larynx. So below the larynx we have the trachea. So below the trachea we have one cartilage which we call it as thyroid cartilage. Below that, the thyroid gland is being situated. Composition. It is composed of two lobes located on the either side of the trachea. So we have the two lobes on the either side of the trachea. And next, the thyroid gland is being composed of follicles and stroma tissue. Follicles means these are the small follicles and stroma means the major body of the tissue. Each thyroid follicle is being composed of follicular cells enclosing a cavity. So it will be like a balloon like structures. Inside it we have the cavity. Next, thyroid hormones. Tetraiodothyronin or thyroxine we call it as. And next, triiodothyronin. So this T3, T4 is nothing but number of iodine molecules. If we have 4 iodine molecules, we call it as T4. If it is 3, we call it as T3. And these are the parathyroid glands. These are present behind the thyroid gland. These yellow parts. We have the 4 parathyroid glands. Coming to the functions of the thyroid hormones, one is regulation of basal metabolic rate, control the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins and fats, maintenance of water and electrolyte balance, secrete the thyrocalcitonin TCT, which regulates the blood calcium levels, supports the process of RBC formation. These are all the functions of thyroid hormones. Coming to the thyroid disorders. Thyroidism, hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. The name itself says hypothyroidism means there is less number of secretions than the mean value. Hyperthyroidism means increased amount of secretions than the mean value. Coming to this, hypothyroidism is a condition characterized by abnormally low thyroid hormone production, and hyperthyroidism is a condition in which thyroid gland produces and secretes excessive hormones of the thyroid hormone. The excessive amounts of thyroid hormones, that is nothing but T3 and T4. So this is the goiter, enlargement of the thyroid gland. This is due to hyperthyroidism. This is exophthalmos, means the eyes will be, there looks like eyes will be coming out. So goiter and hypothyroidism in man. This is hypothyroidism in child. And next, parathyroid gland location. These are the two pairs of parathyroid gland located behind the outer wings of the thyroid. It secretes a peptide hormone called parathyroid hormone PTH. The secretions of PTH is regulated by circulating levels of calcium ions. So the parathyroid hormone is for calcium levels regulation. Next, functions. PTH regulates the amount of calcium, phosphorus and magnesium in the bones and blood. It increases the blood calcium levels, and the thyrocalcitonin will decreases the calcium levels. Parathyroid hormone will increases the calcium levels. Those are quite opposite. You please notice that. And maintain the calcium balance in the body. So this are the parathyroid glands, and we have the cricoid cartilage, thyroid gland and parathyroid. So this is behind only you can see the parathyroid. And thymus gland. Coming to the location, dorsal side of the heart and aorta. Dorsal means back side of the heart and the aorta. Hormone, thymosin's role plays an important role in the development of the immune system. Nothing but T lymphocytes. So nothing but thymus activated lymphocytes. Role of thymosin: provide the cell mediated immunity, promote the production of antibodies to provide hormonal humoral immunity, nothing but fluid immunity. Thymus is degenerated in old individuals. So this is the thymus gland present in the dorsal aspect of heart and aorta. Next, adrenal gland. So adrenal means adding to the kidneys. So we are adding to the kidneys. This gland we call it as adrenal gland. It is in turn again divided into outer part, which is adrenal cortex, and inner part is adrenal medulla. Location: anterior part of located on the anterior part of the each kidney, composed of two types of tissues: centrally located tissue adrenal medulla, outside tissue adrenal cortex. Always the outer tissue we call it as outer cortex and mid. So in this picture we can able to see the right side is being quite lower in size than the left side because of the compression of the liver on the right side. And next, adrenal gland is being divided into two parts: adrenal medulla interior and adrenal cortex outer. Adrenal medulla will secrete the hormones called adrenaline or epinephrine, noradrenaline or norepinephrine, and adrenal cortex will secrete the hormones called corticoids. Next, first adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla releases the catecholamines. We call it as adrenaline or epinephrine, noradrenaline or norepinephrine. These hormones are released in stressful situations, hence called emergency hormones or hormones of fight or flight. These hormones increases the heartbeat, alertness, pupillary dilation, piloerection, nothing but rising of the hairs, sweating, etc. For example, assume yourself you have been in an examination hall in a tensed situation, then how you could feel. That is the reaction of adrenal medulla. As usual, when in a period of hurry you want to run for a train or any bus catching, at that time also your adrenal medullary, these catecholamines will increase in the bed. You will see the heart rate, respiration, everything will be shut up except your digestion. You will not feel hungry at that time. Coming to the adrenal cortex, the adrenal cortex divided into three layers. One is zona reticularis. Means here the cells are being arranged in a form of net. Because of that they call it as zona reticularis. Very inner layer. Those will produce androgens. Next, zona fasciculata. This is the middle layer. Here the cells are being arranged in the form of fascicles. So this will produce glucocorticoids. Next, zona glomerulus. Here the cells are being arranged in a form of ball-like shape. This is the outer layer. These are mineralocorticoids. So these are the set of the hormones produced by each zones. First, functions of adrenal medulla. Right? We have been discussed priorly that adrenal medulla has two parts. Adrenal gland has two parts: adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. So this will be activated in stressful situation, right? So when the person is in high stress initially, so the nerve cells will be stimulated. So the nerve cells will stimulate, and from here to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord it goes to adrenal medulla, and now the adrenal medulla will produce epinephrine and norepinephrine. Now, so what happens immediately is short-term stress response. Glycogen breakdown to glucose to increase the blood glucose. For example, in a stressful situation, you will have the more energy because of this thing. Increased blood pressure, increased breathing, increased metabolic rate. We can feel by hour itself. Everything will get aggravated. So change in the blood flow patterns leading to increased alertness and decreased digestive and kidney activity. We will not get sleep when you are highly stressed, right? And next, coming to the one more pathway for a long-term stress response. For a long period of time, it is for an instant, for very short term. For example, if it is for a long term, hypothalamus, from the hypothalamus to releasing hormones, adenocorticotropin releasing hormone, we have seen in the previous video, and it will go to the anterior pituitary. So it will produce ACTH, adenocorticotropic hormones. Here it is adenocorticotropic releasing hormone. This will act on this anterior pituitary and make it to release ACTH. Now this will act on the adrenal cortex, and finally from the adrenal cortex to adrenal medulla, so from the adrenal cortex, and this will release the glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. These adrenal cortex. Now the long-term stress is mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids, what it will do? Retention of sodium, ions and water by the kidneys. Increased blood volume and blood pressure. For more chronic period, they will have an increased blood pressure. Next, glucocorticoids. Proteins and fats break down and converted into glucose and leading to increased blood glucose. If you want a blood glucose, it has to come from glycogen or it has to come from the fat. And next, immune system may be suppressed. So all these things, this is the flowchart which will be in detailed description about function of adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. Adrenal medulla is for a short-term stress response. Adrenal cortex is for a long-term stress response. And next, pancreas. The pancreas is the flattened organ, lies in the abdomen, posterior and slightly inferior to the stomach. So it is a composite gland. It acts as both exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine is for the digestive system, for the pancreatic juice. Endocrine is for insulin, glucagon, stomatostatin, etc. Histologically, it consists of islets of Langerhans and acini cells. Okay, so now this is the liver. we have the gallbladder, everything, and here it is been we have the pancreas. So this is the whole thing about the pancreas. We have the islets of Langerhans and acinar cells. Coming to this flowchart, islets of the Langerhans has two types of cells majorly. So there are many different types of cells also, but majorly under our topic we have alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells will produce glucagon. Beta cells will produce insulin. So coming to the functions of glucagon and insulin. So if you see this picture, it will be quite uh, confusing. For example, we will make it easy. What is the function of glucagon and what is the function of insulin? Priorly, I am telling to you, insulin will decrease the blood glucose. Glucagon will increase the blood glucose, right? So you remind these two things. Now the flowchart will become very easy to you. Initially, you divide this whole picture into two parts, above and below. So first, about the glucagon, what I told you, glucagon will increase the blood glucose, right? Rises the blood glucose. So to rise the blood glucose, we need glucose into the blood. So that glucose has to be from glycogen. The glycogen will break down and release the glucose. Now, so how this stimulation whole thing will be happen means, so glucagon will act on, is coming from the pancreas, that this glucagon will act on the liver to break down of the glycogen to release the glucose. Now this raises the blood glucose. So finally, high blood sugar. So now this high blood sugar will promote the insulin release. Obviously, after the high blood sugar level, it has to decrease the blood sugar, right? Now it will promote the insulin release. Now what will happen? So it will stimulate the pancreas for the insulin release. So what this insulin will do, this will stimulate the liver to convert the glucose into glycogen back. Now in turn it will decrease the blood glucose, means lower the blood sugar. Now this lowers the blood sugar, will in turn promote the glucagon release. It will be like a cycle. Once the glucose level has been rises, it will stimulate the insulin. Once the glucose level is been lowered, it will stimulate the glucagon, vice versa. Testis. Location. Present in the scrotal sac outside the abdomen of male, testes perform dual functions as the primary sex organ for the production of gametes as well as for the endocrine gland. So we have the epididymis, seminiferous tubule. We have been discussed in detail in our previous video. Please to check for it. So seminiferous tubule. Now, next, testis composed of seminiferous tubule and interstitial tissue. The Leydig cells or the interstitial cells produced a hormone called androgens, mainly testosterone. During puberty, the testosterone helps to bring about the following physical changes that turn a boy into an adult male, increases in muscle mass and strength, and increase in the height, growth of facial and pubic hair, deepening of the voice, male hair patterns, sperm production, nothing but spermatogenesis. Next, ovaries. Location. A pair of ovaries located in the abdomen of female. It is primary female sex organ which produces one ovum during each menstrual cycle. It produces two groups of steroid hormones, nothing but estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen is during the normal cycles, progesterone is at the time of pregnancy. More amount is being, so this we also call it as pregnancy hormone. So this we have the pair of ovaries and this is the uterus. So ovaries is being connected to the pelvic region by ligaments. So these are the follicles. This everything is again discussed in the reproductive system. You please go and check with the previous videos for detailed explanation. Next, functions of estrogen and progesterone. First is estrogen. Estrogen is synthesized and secreted by ovarian follicles. It is responsible for the development of growing ovarian follicle, the appearance of female secondary sex characteristics at puberty such as high pitch of voice, development of mammary gland. Progesterone. Progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum. It also means secreted by placenta during at the time of pregnancy. It regulates the female sexual behavior. It prepares the uterus for pregnancy and the mammary gland for lactation. Progesterone supports the pregnancy. Next, hormones of the heart, kidney and GI tract. Organs also will produce the hormones. We have to know the list of the hormones of that. Atrial wall of the heart secretes the peptide hormone called atrial natriuretic hormone. So natriuretic factor. Atrium means it is being produced by atrium. Natriuretic means sodium levels is being controlled by this hormone, which decreases the blood pressure. Juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney, which will produces a peptide hormone called erythropoietin, which stimulates the erythropoiesis, nothing but formation of RBC. Next, gastrointestinal tract, which will secrete four major peptide hormones, that is gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, gastric inhibitory peptide. So, hormones of the GIT tract. So, gastrin acts as a gastric gland and stimulates secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Secretin acts on the exocrine of the pancreas and stimulates the secretion of water and bicarbonates. And next, cholecystokinin acts on the both pancreas as well as gallbladder to stimulate the secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juice respectively. You please don't get confused with secretin and cholecystokinin. Secretin is for the release of water and bicarbonates from the pancreas, and cholecystokinin only will release the enzymes from the gallbladder and pancreas. Next, gastric inhibitory peptide, which will inhibit the gastric secretion as well as the motility. So this is about the hormone levels. Okay, thank you very much. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel.